Alrighty, guys. So I will ask the question and then you will tell me the answer. Number one, what is this article mostly about?
The answer to number one is C. A young inventor.
Awesome.
And the page number is 360.
Okay, number two, what happened when Edison got scarlet fever?
I think this answer is he lost some of his hearing.
Good girl, well done. The answer is he lost some of his hearing. So unfortunately, after getting this horrible disease, it actually affected his hearing and he became partially deaf, which became worse and worse as the years went on. Now, we found this information on page 364. So if you got the page number and this right, give yourself a tick. If you made any mistake, please correct it. Number three, how does the author organize the ideas in the two paragraphs on page 364?
I choose A by using cards and effects.
Good girl, Mia. Well done. On page 364, we see that the author organizes their ideas in two paragraphs. One paragraph is about Thomas Edison getting scarlet fever, and the second paragraph is about how he lost his hearing, he stopped asking questions, and he came out of school. He became homeschooled by his mother. So that shows a cause and effect. Good girl, Mia. Well done to anyone who got that correct. Give yourself a big tick. Number four, have a look. What was Edison's first job? Can you please tell me, Teddy?
Edison's first job is paper boy.
Good job. Well done. His first job was a paper boy. So when he was 12 years old, he became a paper boy because he wanted to earn money so he could keep buying chemicals and things for his experiments. We found this answer on page 366. Number five, how can the reader tell that Edison loved to read? Kui Kang, what did you get for this one? How can you tell that he loved to read?
He spent all day at the library.
Good job. Well done, Kui Kang. Because he spends all day at the library, that's a big clue to let me know that he loved to read. So after he would do his paper round from 7 till 10 a.m., he would go to the library and sit there all day until it was nighttime and then get the train back. So this lets us know that he loved to read. Number six, why did Edison lose his job at the railroad office? Emma, what did you get for that one?
Number six is H.
Can you read out H for me?
Answer here is F. He was sleeping at work.
Correct. Good job, Leo. Well done. He was sleeping at work and his boss found out and he was very angry. So Thomas Edison created a little robot that would do his job for him so that he could just sleep at the office, which is very clever, but not exactly correct. We should not be sleeping at work when our work revolves making sure trains are going to the correct destinations at the correct time. Even though it was a clever idea to build a robot, it was a very dangerous idea. Okay, number seven. What happened after Edison lost his job at the railroad station? Click the raise your hand button if you know the answer for this one.
Travel around working as a telegraph operator.
Good job. Well done, Ocean. Lovely. So after he lost his job, he traveled around working as a telegraph operator. And we found that information on page 374. Number eight, what did Edison do while he was in Boston? What did he do? Tweety?
H. Invent the electric light bulb.
Not quite. So he wasn't in Boston for that. That came a little bit later. So it's not 8. That came a little bit later. Kui Kang?
I is I.
Can you read it?
Got his first
patent on an invention.
Good job. He patented his first invention. So he created something and then bought the right to make sure no one else could ever use that invention again. Good job. And we found that answer on page 374. Okay, last two questions. Number 9, which sentence from the article shows that Edison's mother kept helping him even after he left home? Click the raise your hand button to tell me what answer you got. What sentence do you think shows that his mother kept in contact with him and kept helping him?
He would miss her advice and encouragement.
Good job. Well done. He would miss her letters, her advice, and encouragement. This lets me know that his mother used to contact him via letter and would always support and encourage him. And if he ever didn't know what to do, she would give him advice and help him through that. And we found that answer on page 376. Last question. Why did people start to call Edison the wizard? Why did people do that? Why did people call him the wizard? Who have I not heard from? Who hasn't raised their hand at all today? Okay, Ming Huang, what do you think? Good job. The answer is that he made many magical inventions. So many people started calling him the wizard because he was creating so many cool and amazing inventions. We found that information on the very last page, page 381. Okay, guys, give yourself your mark out of 10 and then pop your homework away. Good job. Good job to everyone who is answering every single question. Really good work. You're going to be upping your points in Class Dojo. All right, let's go ahead and start our lesson today. So today is all about main ideas and supporting details. Let's have a look at what that means. What is the main idea and what are supporting details? Sao, could you please read this for me?
The main idea is the most important part of the text.
Good job. The main idea is the most important point that the author is trying to get you to understand in the text that you read. Please think about main ideas and supporting details as tables. If we have a table, the main idea is the tabletop, this part right here. It's the most important part of the table. We use this part to put our books on, to do our homework on, to eat at. This is the most important part of the table. So we need that to make sure we can do whatever it is that we need to do at the table, whether it be reading, doing homework, or eating. Now, what are supporting details?
Supporting detail describe or explain the main idea
Of the text. Good. So supporting details describe or explain the main idea of the text. So you have to think about your supporting detail as the legs of the table. Now, while I said the tabletop is the most important part, it wouldn't be useful at all without the legs. We need the legs to support the table so that it can stand sturdy. It's the same with main ideas and supporting details. In a text, we have a main idea about what the article is about, and then within the text, we have sentences and supporting details that give us the information about the main idea. How can I find the main idea? I'm going to come up with a couple of rules or helpful tips that we can do to help find the main idea. I'd like everyone to unmute, and as the sentences come up, you can say them. So everyone unmute. Okay, here we go. Number 1, everyone together. 1, 2, 3. Look
Look at the pictures in the text.
Number 2.
Line of the extra
Good. Number 3. Good job. Number 4. Good. Number 5. Good job. And number 6. Good job. Well done, guys. So here are just some tips or helpful ideas that you can follow when you're trying to find the main idea. So if you ever get a question about finding the main idea in a test or an exam or in a homework sheet, you can follow these rules. Look at the pictures in the text. Often pictures can give a clue as to what the main idea is. When you are reading the text, use a pencil and underline all the examples or all the facts that you find in the text. Read the title of the article, read the title of the text. Reread the first sentence. Often we have topic sentences that give you a clue as to what the main idea is. Reread the last sentence. Often we have a conclusion that reiterates the topic sentence. So here in the first and last sentence, you can find some big clues as to what the main idea is. Number 6, ask yourself, what is this text telling me? What is the author trying to get me to understand or get me to think about or get me to know? So we can use these to help us find the main idea. And we're going to do that today. Find the main idea of pages 362 to 363. Have a look here. Please read this page for me, Zaling.
Thomas loved to experiment in
1856.
1856 at the age of 9, he turned his family cellar into a laboratory complete with test tube,
Beakers.
beakers, and whatever
Chemicals.
chemical he could buy. It was a mess, but bottle were everywhere. Young was what make one
Chemical.
chemical after another, sometimes
Following.
following the
Experiments.
experiment in his
Chemistry.
chemistry book, sometimes not. A little of this and a little of that he used to mumble. His mother always
Encouraged
him to ask questions, and he did. What is this? Why this that happened? How does it happen?
Good girl. Thanks for reading, Zaling. Well done. All right. So, guys, what do you think is the main idea of this page or of these 2 pages? Let's go back and have a look at what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to look at the pictures and underline all the examples and facts. Let's do that first. Let's have a look at the picture. What can you see happening in this picture? Now, some of it is cut out. At the bottom here, we have chemicals that say poison on them, and we can see Thomas mixing chemicals together. So what does that tell you about this page? What clue does that give you about the main idea of this page?
To give us about the main idea is Thomas loves to experiment.
Good girl, well done. Okay, the picture lets us know that Thomas loved to experiment, and I'm also going to now underline some examples or facts. Here's a fact. It said Thomas loved to experiment, and another fact is that he turned his family cellar into a laboratory. Another fact is that he would mix one chemical after another and do experiments from his chemistry book. And another fact is that his mother always encouraged him to ask questions. So his mother was very supportive of him. So there's lots of facts and examples here, and there's a picture to use. We can also reread the first sentence. Thomas loved to experiment. We can also reread the last sentence. How does it happen? So this is about a question of him being curious into experimenting. So after doing that, I've got a pretty good idea about what the main idea of these 2 pages is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this graphic organizer. I'm going to pop my main idea in here, and I'm going to get 2 supporting details that support this main idea. Now, any ideas what you think the main idea of those 2 pages is? What do you think the main idea might be? After looking at the pictures, rereading the first sentence, and underlining all the facts and examples, what do you think the main idea of those 2 pages is about?
I think Thomas loved to experiment.
Good job. Well done, Steve. I'm going to go ahead and add that into my graphic organizer. Edison loved to experiment. That is the main idea of these 2 pages. It's what the author is trying to get you to understand. Who can help me find 2 supporting details within the text that support the idea that he loved to experiment? The fact that Thomas turned his family cellar into a laboratory, that's a big clue to let me know that he loves experimenting. At only 9 years old, he turns his family's basement into a laboratory. You don't do things like that unless you love to experiment and get creative. So my main idea is that he loved to experiment, and something that supports this idea is that he turned his family cellar into a laboratory for experiments. Good job. What is another supporting detail that supports the idea that Thomas loved to experiment? Cindy, what do you think?
I think is in young old make chemical after other and sometimes following the experiment in his chemistry book.
Good job. Another supporting detail that lets us know that he loved to experiment is that he would mix chemicals together and follow experiments in his chemistry book. So he turned his family cellar into a laboratory, and he would mix chemicals together and do his own experiments. So let's add that in. Have a look. He liked mixing chemicals and even performed experiments from his chemistry book. The main idea is that he loved to experiment, and both of these supporting details support the idea that he loved to experiment. Both of these supporting details explain to us how it shows us that he loved to experiment. Good job, guys. Now, let's have a look at another page. Find the main idea of page 379. Can you please read this page for me? Who would like to read this page for me? Click the raise your hand button if you would like to read this page for me.
In 1876, Thomas moved his laboratory to Menlo Park, New Jersey. He invented the carbon transmitter, which
Amplified
the human voice, making the telephone and microphone possible. He also invented a machine that talked, a
phonograph.
Shortly thereafter, Thomas invented an electric light bulb. He also discovered the principle of sound waves, which made the radio possible. In 1887, he moved his laboratory to West Orange, New Jersey, developing the motion picture and much more. At one point, he had 250 people working for him and 45 inventions going.
Good job. Thanks for reading, Lekang. Okay, guys, so we have to find the main idea of this page. Now, I've cropped out some of the pictures. So there are no pictures to look at. So what else should we do? Click the raise your hand button to tell me what is something that we could do to help us find the main idea.
Thing that we can do to know what the main idea is, that we find facts or details and examples.
Good girl, Hannah. We could find examples and facts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw or underline some facts and examples. So here is a fact. He invented the carbon transmitter. Oops, let me just move that out of the way. He invented the carbon transmitter. He also invented a machine that talked, a phonograph. Thomas invented an electric light bulb. He also discovered the principle of sound waves. He moved his lab and developed the motion picture. So there are lots of facts and examples here. There's also repetition. I'm also seeing one word that keeps being repeated. What word here keeps being repeated? There's one word on this page that I keep seeing. What is that word?
I think it's invention.
Good girl. It's invented, and the word invention down here. Good girl. So I'll put that in a different color. I'll put this in green. He invented. He invented. Thomas invented. At one point, he had 45 inventions. So that repetitive word, invented, inventions, is also going to help us find the main idea of this page. Something else we can do is reread the first sentence. In 1876, he moved his laboratory to Menlo Park, New Jersey. That doesn't give us much of a clue, but let's reread the last sentence. At one point, he had 250 people working for him and 45 inventions going. There's that repetitive word again with invent in it. So that gives me a bit of a clue as to what the main idea on this page is about.
That Thomas Edison and 250 people working made many inventions.
Very good, well done. The main idea is less about the 250 people working for him and more about Thomas Edison himself. So the main idea is that Edison invented many useful devices. On this page, we can see the word invented many times. It tells us he invented the carbon transmitter, which amplified or makes louder the human voice. So that made the telephone and microphone possible. So without him, we wouldn't have telephones and microphones. He also invented a machine that talked called a phonograph. He invented the electric light bulb, which we use every day. He discovered the principle of sound waves, which we still use every day because we use the radio. And he developed the motion picture, which we use every day because we watch movies pretty much every day, or a video every day. So the main idea is that he invented many useful devices. Now, what are two supporting details that support the idea that he invented many useful devices? What are some supporting details we can take from the text?
He invented the carbon transmitter, which with the human voice, making the telephone and microphone possible.
Good job, well done. So let's go ahead and add that into our graphic organizer. He invented many useful devices. His carbon transmitter made the telephone and microphone possible. So without his carbon transmitter, we wouldn't have things like the telephone and microphone. Even though he did not invent the telephone and microphone, without his invention of the carbon transmitter, we would not have those things. Okay, what are some other supporting details? What other useful devices did he create that we can find in this text? Click the raise your hand button to tell me. Okay, guys, that's brought us to the end of our lesson. So what I'm going to do now is show you your homework. For homework over the weekend, you have a main idea worksheet to complete. You must read about coral reefs. Look. You have to read about coral reefs. So you read this text, you look at the pictures, look at the captions, And then you use this graphic organizer to tell me what the main idea is, and you find 1, 2, 3 supporting details that support the main idea. So use the 6 tips that I showed you today. You can underline the examples and facts, look at the pictures, look at the captions, reread the first sentence, reread the last sentence, read the title. Ask yourself, what is this text trying to tell me? So you're going to read about coral reefs and then you find the main idea. If you do not have a printer at home, I would like you to draw your graphic organizer like this: a table, and I want you to draw a box that says main idea with an arrow pointing to the tabletop. And then I want 3 other boxes that all point to the different legs, and they are your supporting details. Because thinking of a main idea as a tabletop and the legs can really be useful into visualizing what the main idea and supporting details are. Do I have any questions about what you're supposed to do for homework this evening? All right, guys, since there are no more questions, I'm going to stop sharing my screen with you and I'm going to say goodbye. Have a lovely weekend, whatever you get up to. Stay safe, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye-bye.